Hello, viewers.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
And good night. This is Monad
In the morning.
Joseph and I are on opposite sides of the island here. Maybe actually not the best week for an island analogy, but here we are. We do have an empty chair here that is normally been filled by our good friend intern, who's switching up the way that he's gonna support Monad going forward. And despite all the memes and the commentary, I am actually quite excited to see how he's gonna support in a very new capacity. He's going to be working out of the studio here in New York, supporting ecosystem teams, supporting Monad, and excited for that overall. It is certainly not the last that you've seen of intern on Monad in the morning. I don't think that sentence actually makes sense, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He'll be back.
We'll have him on for sure.
We also have Evan coming in to co-host, but apparently... I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on air, but apparently his apartment, it has a leak, and his downstairs neighbor is like, hey, man, can you identify the source of this leak so that my apartment is not full of water? So Evan will join us pretty shortly, but for now, you got me, you got Jessup. We're holding down the fort. It's a great week.
Why is Danny not wearing a hat?
See? That's a super fan. I can tell. That's a Monad
Mike
in the
Webb.
morning. Oh, okay. That is Mike. You are an absolute legend. I didn't put the hat on this morning. It's actually sitting on my desk. I don't know why. Maybe I'm having a good hair day. Maybe got like a couple years left before I'm full on bald. So, check it out. Got the hair. That's
Nice.
pretty good. Chat, how we doing? What's going on?
Chat?
The vibes are, I don't know. The vibes are like, to me, like kind of electric. Like this is a crazy time for crypto.
What is going on with Twitch? Something's up with Twitch.
Oh, well, it wouldn't be a pipeline live stream if we didn't have some major technical difficulties. What is going live?
Mike Webb says Twitch. Aunt says Twitch. And Merce says.
Oh, it was just Sailor Nini?
Yeah.
Sailor Nini. It's fine. It's just Nini.
Nini
Hey, well, appreciate the call out. Holy cow. Evan is here. Let's go. I'm going to get him. Jessup, it's all you, man.
So, we got Evan coming in. What's up, Evan?
Woo! Sorry about that, guys.
We heard.
I woke up and went to the bathroom. Yeah, I woke up an hour ago. Went to the bathroom. The light was on. I was like, oh, that's weird. The door was closed. I was like, I don't think anyone's in here right now. I opened it up. There's just a strange man standing there, like hammering at my shower head. I'm like, what is going on? That's New York City for you. And, like, my super was there. There was a leak downstairs, and yeah, they just come in and.
Wow. Is
It's
that
really
is
nice.
that even
Say
legal?
that you're still asleep.
Dude, they do whatever they want, man.
Is that even legal? Is
Yeah.
probably the question of the year, to be honest.
Yeah. But
But
thank
certainly
you
the
guys.
question of 2025 in crypto.
100
Is that legal?
Is that
certainly is the
legal?
question.
I don't know, but someone's going to do it anyways.
Yes, sir.
And then
Yes, sir.
and they will find out. Man, we have. I was just saying, I'm fired up today. Maybe it's because I had a canned cold brew with 225 milligrams of caffeine, and now I'm almost through.
This is
with
your
my-
second energy drink.
Well, I had a cold brew, which I guess is like in a sense an energy drink. It does have 225 milligrams of caffeine, and now I'm on to the Celsius. So
There you
I'm going to
go.
be talking very, very, very fast today.
But we also have some amazing guests, so that might be the other reason
We
that
have-
you're hyped up today.
We
man.
actually slotted in. I don't even think this week has been kind of a whirlwind for me. I've been pretty back to back, and I don't even think I told you about our final guest today.
I saw something on the calendar.
Okay,
I have
all
no
right.
context to what it is, but it looks exciting.
All right, so we'll run through that. We've also got some news and updates to chat through. Probably too much news to chat through, which is a good problem to have.
Yes,
but
sir.
we must keep the chat informed. We must have a good time with the viewers. There's a lot to be excited about if you know where to look. But guest lineup today, we have Lever Bet, Big Mr. Blue coming on in 19 minutes. Lever is live on mainnet. Let's go. Been excited about this one for quite a while. It is probably the most degenerate version of sports betting that I have ever seen and that you could really imagine. It is leverage sports betting, and they're live on Monad Mainnet, Monad Native. These guys have been cooking behind the scenes for quite a while, so very excited about Lever. We also have Loot Go coming on at 11:30 in just over an hour, and Loot Go has a new feature set that we're going to hear about from Ed. So excited to have Ed on for sure. And then, last but not least, immediately following Loot Go at 12 noon Eastern time, we have at Motion by Nick coming on. And Motion by Nick is a legendary creator, motion designer, has a YouTube channel that's popped off over the past couple of years doing like very cool motion design tutorials. And one of the things that he's done recently is he's done some projection mapping on his toilet and created some viral content on Instagram by saying, I'm going to make $1 million by selling ad space on my toilet.
Whoa.
And so
That's incredible.
MoonPay was one of the first companies to get involved and put their logo on Nick's toilet. I think it got like 4 million views in 24 hours, and they paid like $1,000 or $1,500 for it. So, I mean, pretty good marketing spend out of MoonPay. Shout out MoonPay marketing team.
MoonPay.
That's a good thing to jump on, because I think it's getting a bit more pricey as this goes a bit more viral, and Nick chips away towards his goal of making $1 million by selling ad space on his toilet. That is creativity in 2026 at his finest. So pumped to have him on at 12 noon Eastern today to talk about it. Maybe I will have to have a conversation with our finance team and sell the value of putting a Monad logo on Nick's toilet as well. But yeah, exciting guest lineup for the day.
Incredible.
We've got Evan post leak, made it. Let's go. This is a great day.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a big one. I feel like it's kind of rare we have a all consumer type of lineup
Yes.
today, which is pretty awesome. I mean, we always talk about what's next in crypto, and we know the same stories around stablecoin adoption up and to the right. Beautiful things for the industry. But I think for most of us who are retail users or just in the community on a day-to-day level, what we really want to see is that feeling of experimentation in crypto. And I kind of feel that it's coming back right now. Yeah, it's that feeling of like when everyone's starting to leave and all the tourists are gone. It happens every single cycle. Crypto starts getting weird again. You have people like that actually care about things that are just like, let me just build something. And now is probably the best time ever to do that with AI tooling. So you just got to get really creative with it. So I didn't even know Nick was coming on today. I was just scrolling his Twitter and I saw that he's trending even over the Epstein files.
Yeah.
He's gotten like 2 million views. And it's one of those things, like all you have to do is make something cool and then distribute it out online. Like the combination of social media and AI, everything's out there for you. So if you're still here in crypto, get weird with it. Start experimenting. And we'll be here for you at Monad.
100%. And speaking of being here for you at Monad, there's a $200,000 prize pool for the Multiverse Hackathon. I'm sure all the viewers are aware of it. Pretty exciting stuff going on there. Huge shout out to the AI team. Huge shout out to Sherlock Hoddles on the growth team, as well as many other contributors internally here. Just idea popped up Saturday night, Moltbot going crazy. Let's get a hackathon going and ship it on Monday. And I think this is a great direction to go in. Like, supporting builders at to use some buzzwords, the cutting edge of innovation right now, like, is awesome. And shipping fast is really like the name of the game. So I think all things considered, it is a great time to be optimistic, especially if you are a fan of Monad. And like I said, there's a lot going on the Monad side. Probably don't even have time to talk through it all. Before we do, though, special shout out. I believe today, it could be yesterday, depending on the exact time. But I believe today is one of our Power viewers' birthdays. And so we must shout out Mirth Mono. Wish you a very happy birthday. I don't know if Mirth Mono is
an LD. Cheers to that.
Yeah,
Happy
let's
birthday,
go.
Mirth.
Happy birthday, Mirth Mono. We appreciate you. We love you.
Fellow February.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. All right. Cheers.
Happy
Cheers to
birthday,
Mirth.
legend. Cheers.
Dude, this thing is bubbly.
Ooh.
Here, I got a little coffee. Drinking coffee. I don't normally
A
drink
rare coffee for
Yeah.
Jessup.
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh, this
It's
is
been-
bubbly.
mine is also just like pure sparkling unflavored water,
yeah.
which I haven't had in a bit. It's like, it's kind of a high class beverage. Like,
It's very European of you, Danny.
I mean, you go to a restaurant and
Yeah.
like they come out and they're like still or sparkling. If you're like sparkling, like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Different
like,
emotion, man.
Yeah.
I come out, I'm like, tap water, please.
yeah, I'm like, I'm not paying $13 for a glass bottle of water to sit on my table at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like,
just wait for the bull market to ride back up.
Bring me that Saratoga.
yeah.
yeah,
She actually has San Pellegrino.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. Exciting news here. And I think it's like widely known, but not the Monad context around this news. Monad will appear this Sunday in a Super Bowl ad.
That's
thanks to TBPN. Huge, pretty excited. Sure, the logo's small. Sure, it's airing in Silicon Valley primarily, but Monad going to the Super Bowl. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
go.
For free, nonetheless.
Let's go.
Well, for free for
I
us.
think this is the first time I've heard of this too. I don't know if this is out there anywhere else on the internet. If people know about this.
See, this is why you show
This
up
is
to
why you
Monad in
turn
the
up.
morning.
Yes.
You come, you go full max crank on the volume, and you listen to us yap for 3 hours, and you get an insight or two. And this is one of those insights. Monad's gonna be
100%.
in the Super Bowl. Sure, yeah, small logo, but hey, huge shout out to TBPN putting, I think, all their guests' logos into
Amazing
this
work.
Super Bowl ad. Like, that's just such good marketing as well, because sure, like, the ad itself helps build the TBPN brand, which is already growing super fast. And shout out Jordy and John and Dylan who runs things behind the scenes, as well as like their whole team is cracked. But like, the idea of putting every guest that you've ever had in the Super Bowl ad means that all these guests are just going to bang the drum and make noise about it online and be grateful, as they should. But the amount of extra distribution that they get on that ad within their target audience is just probably making the spend so much more worthwhile. So
We already know all of you out there are going to be clipping that 5-second little window where Monad flashes across the page.
So
exactly.
That's
Have you
what they
seen
want. I haven't seen it yet.
So yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, it is very small. But we know all of you are going to be sending clips, watching at your TV at home, and distributing that Monad, beautiful Monad logo everywhere online. And that's their master plan. They cooked.
Yeah. And we've been going on this Monad in the Morning live stream for about a year now. TBPN has as well. We pivoted. We still do the Pipeline podcast here and there, but we pivoted to the live stream because we can hang out with the chat. We can cover so many different topics. We can have easily multiple guests calling in per episode. And basically right when we did that, TBPN also went to the live stream mode as well. I am certain that they were not copying us. But still, it was nice validation, and they've leaned so heavily into the show over the past year, really invested in it, really thought creatively about the marketing, and it's ultimately just such a great thing for technology as a whole. Many crypto projects and founders have been platformed on TBPN over the past year, and shout out those guys. They're cooking.
Yeah.
Complete side note. When I signed on here on X to look at this, it says Mr. Blue is speaking in another Twitter space right now that he's getting off extreme, but it says Legends of Atlantis conspiracies on Monad.
Man, that sounds like a pretty
it might be a switch up from the topic areas we'll talk about here, but
what are the conspiracies?
Yeah. Well, we gotta ask him when he comes on.
Yeah, we gotta hear a little bit about these conspiracies. But before we do, let's speed run some news. Quick shout out. We're gonna do a bonus stream tomorrow from the Pipeline, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'll be on there. Hasib will be on there as well. We're going to talk about the multiverse hackathon. We're going to talk about the state of crypto. We're going to talk about why Monad is positioned for massive growth in 2026. And it absolutely is. Some interesting commentary out of the Ethereum community recently. Vitalik reopening the conversation about L2s and really advocating for scaling the L1 now. He had a follow-up post come out this morning. No more EVM forks, saying no more alt EVM L1s, or no more L1s are necessary. I am not sure that I would agree with that, but also I am not sure that I would personally want to debate Vitalik. So maybe Keone has some additional insights or commentary there, but it is an interesting time for crypto. And, man, it's just exciting. The past 5 or so years has been all focused on L2s scaling the Ethereum ecosystem. And now that's kind of out the window. It's like, hey, this was kind of a dead end. And, in the meantime, we had Keone quote tweet Vitalik's walkaway test, basically saying okay, Ethereum's going to scale the L1. Vitalik's like, here's the things we need to do. And Keone's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's this thing called Monad, and we've done half of those already. Category Labs has implemented a lot of this stuff on mainnet already, and broadly agree with the overall priorities. These are similar priorities for Monad, but Monad does not face the same challenges that Ethereum does in trying to scale the L1 at this stage. Monad was custom built from scratch for this exact reason, because it would be so challenging to scale the L1 on Ethereum that 5 years ago the decision was made okay, L2s are the route. And I don't know. This has me quite excited, even though, obviously Vitalik's we don't need any more L1s. It kind of seems like we might.
Yeah, I mean, the way I read into that post was even more just talking about it from the perspective of L2s as well, where I almost feel like the bigger thing he was condemning was the fact that we had, literally hundreds of L2s undifferentiated launch to help with, horizontal scaling, whatever you would call it. But and realizing no, you have to go vertical. You have to be back at the layer 1, and that's going to be the focus for Ethereum. And I would say like that probably is the right move. And the reason we also think it's the right move is because that's the thesis Monad went out to market with 3-4 years ago. And we know it's not an easy thing because it took this long for us to get here.
Yeah.
Have built all this infrastructure. In any case, it'll probably be a few years for Ethereum to get here. At the same time, that doesn't mean Monad's resting. We're going to continue to compound on the advantage. Category Labs is going to continue to build, and we're going to have a world where we're just going to rely on extremely performant layer 1s, and then for him, he was saying like then in the layer 2 world you want specialized things coming out of it. Who knows? That might be on the docket for Monad as well when we get to that point.
Well, the thing that seems to happen, or seems to have happened, is when you launch a fork of a chain, you're not really doing much in the form of technical optimizations.
Right.
You're not really like building this stuff from scratch. You're just like, hey, let me go fork, optimize for this use case. It's probably going to be pretty centralized. And then we're going to go and do a bunch of like business development and marketing to try and get more traction from, name another fork basically. And so what has tended to happen is the work is being done pre-mainnet launch. And then once mainnet launches, it's like, well, the chain's the chain, here it is. Let's go, get people to build on it, like let's grow adoption. And of course, like, that's one of the North Stars this year for Monad as well, but like there's no sitting back and resting. Like I don't think Keone or Eunice or James, aside from his current visit to the community meetup, have like stepped back at all. Like it is full force, round the clock, 24/7. The team here is cooking. Had a hackathon shipped in 2 days, monumental effort, like 16, 17, 18-hour
100%.
days every day, like full force.
Yeah,
why
it
not?
almost feels like we've actually started over again, where like if leading up before it was the national anthem going into like the tip off. Now it's like, oh, the first quarter has actually started, and you're wired, you're locked in. Danny's had 450 milligrams of caffeine this morning alone, so that we're getting after it. And I know we have a bunch of exciting announcements on Monad that we'll get into, but it's just the testament. My preview is that this is literally the beginning. Like I don't. It's hard to say. Like I don't want to rest on the fact that hey, we're a 2-3 month old chain, because it kind of makes you sound like, oh, that's a justification for things being slow. But what it really means is the whole future is ahead of us, and we're heating up, I think, in ways that most people are quitting crypto right now. We're really just getting into things, and it's getting very exciting.
Yeah, and it's not like TradFi is quitting on crypto. It's not like Enterprise is quitting on crypto.
Right.
It's not like Payments is quitting on crypto. In the past week alone, we had Mento announcing they're live on Monad. Is it like, a shiny, glamorous prediction market that retail can gamble on? Absolutely not. But it opens up real world use cases for emerging market stablecoins. We heard this from Denny last week. People in the chat were commenting like, hey, this would actually be very, very useful in the region that I'm from. Like, I can't wait for this to go live on Monad.
Yeah. SolSal actually was mentioning live that she was checking the conversion rates, and it was like much better on using Mento and like what she normally uses. So
and now she can do it on Monad, so it's even cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, Mento on Monad announced this week. Mercurio live on Monad, huge on ramp, one of the largest on ramps globally, massive in the EU. Bang, awesome. Kuru growing. January was a massive month for Kuru. Shout out KZ at KYVAN_Z. Put up a nice tweet about Kuru's growth in January. They 10x'd their volumes while the market has obviously been pretty down only, and this is more than the 24-hour on-chain DEX volumes of Optimism, Mantle, and Say just on Kuru. So, hey, Kuru, shout out the team. They're cooking. And we also have another guest who's cooking. Lever.bet is live on Monad Mainnet, and we are going to hear from the founder, Big Mr. Blue himself. I think I heard that dial tone.
He's in the lobby. Ready to roll.
I'm just gonna assume yes. Awkward silence. There he is, Mr. Blue.
How we doing, Pipeline guys? Monad in the morning.
Great to see you, man. Great to see you.
Good to see you guys as well. I assume Jessup is behind there. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
it's
awesome
awesome
to
to
see
see
you
you.
back there running everything. Right?
The real question is right before this, you were on a conspiracies thing.
Yeah, I was on the Atlantis Conspiracy Spaces, of which I'm a regular, obviously. I've been a big conspiracy guy for years and years and years, and always like to get on there. We were doing a gambling-centric one today, so, you know, everything from the Shohei Ohtani stuff to the Kawhi Leonard stuff to
Nice.
the Jake Paul sticking out the tongue. I mean, anything you can think of. Always a fun time every Thursday, normally at about this time, but, you know, hey, got to make room for Monad in the morning and my beautiful friend Danny there.
Well, we are very glad that you did. It is a very exciting week, very exciting day, very exciting time. Can you tell us what's going on? I know front running this announcement, Lever is live. Tell us about it.
So the first announcement is we are well past our soft cap of $1 million on the vault, which allows us to launch effectively, and we are quickly approaching the $2.5 million hard cap on the Vault Rush. So hopefully by the end of the day today, we'll have all that loaded in. Second major announcement is we are in the middle of deploying the mainnet production-ready contracts as we speak. After we get a handful of games tested internally on it, we will open it up for public. It should be live by likely this time tomorrow if all goes well. Maybe even tonight. I would keep an eye on the Twitter for announcements. The X account for announcements, the Discord for announcements, or just show up to levr.bet. You might find yourself restricted if you're in the United States or an unfriendly jurisdiction, but if you can get into it from Hyperliquid, you can likely find your way into lever.bet, the world's first true leverage sports betting experience built only on Monad, right? Very excited about that. We've also got a stack of Monad Momentum rewards that are going to be heading out here very shortly, where we'll give rake back of up to 25% on a bet that you lose. So even if you lose, you still win because, Monad, I'm stacking as much Mon as I can at all times. The real goal for us here over the last few months has been to build a sustainable product that is complete, been audited 3 times, just recently completed our audit with Weiss through the Hyacinth platform, fantastic platform, as well as have ran numerous scans from Octane and worked with those guys closely to fix all the kind of issues that were identified in our Zelic audit that ran a few months back, right? So everything is tip-top sound, up shape, and secure, and we're ready to get users in there to have them betting for the Super Bowl. I'm personally on the Patriots, not financial advice, but go Pats. Dave Portnoy owes me a slice of pizza if they lose my fucking Honda Civic size bet on that. But it should be a real fun weekend all around. After we launch this, Super Bowl is last game of the NFL season, so we'll be rolling into NBA. Will be live. We'll be going straight into NCAA basketball. Nice. Olympics. We'll have some fun stuff. Hopefully, we have football 3-way markets, so they include draw coming up. Lots of stuff. So you'll likely see a new feature shipped from us probably about every few days. We'll turn on something new after we can test it internally. And we're aiming for by March Madness to have both the over-under and spread markets activated, as well as the full in-game trading exchange. So to start with, we don't want to break anything once users pile in, and we've got real cash flowing through there beyond just our own testing. So there will be a limited activity for the Super Bowl. You'll just be able to bet up to 5x leverage, go in there, carry your game all the way through. You're either going to get liquidated or not. If you don't, take some of my money. The vault is full and ready for you to claim.
Wow. This is a lot to unpack here. Extremely exciting. I am fired up. I'm not like a massive sports gambler with consistency, but the big events like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Super Bowl, like anywhere, it's a gathering and, there's big sports on, like I'm always inclined to, get a little action. But honestly, like I haven't really gone through all the hoops of like, setting up any trad betting accounts. Like, to be perfectly frank, I've been waiting for Lever to go live. So I am ready to, again, not financial advice, but I am ready to see the Pats win, and I am ready to reap the rewards with a little bit of leverage this weekend. So I'm super pumped. You will find me hopefully on the Lever platform on Sunday in the green.
100%. We're super excited. I don't think people know how difficult it is to have built the platform that you guys have built. Everything from the underlying mechanism design, making sure that's safe, to getting what we're about to see, $2.5 million in initial liquidity in the vault before anything is even set up. I would say that is the main challenge we see when we talk to betting markets and prediction markets, and most teams have no idea how to navigate it. And you guys have come out of the gate hot with millions of dollars in deposits. For the people out there who are asking the question, some of our audience have used Lever on testnet, have gotten liquidated, have made some money, have had fun. Some of them have never used it before. What is Lever? How can they expect differentiation between other sports betting exchanges? And just how much leverage can we put on day one when you guys are on mainnet?
Great question. So, in short, Lever is a leveraged sports book. So we have a dual market model. When you show up pregame before an event starts, you can take leverage up to 5x currently. We hope to get that up to 10x shortly, but we have 5x right now. And what that means is you can come in with $100, you can lever up to 5x, you'll get $500 worth of bet size on your bet. To start with, we're doing money lines, which is just who's going to win and who's going to lose the game, right? So if it's an even money bet and you come in, you bet a 50-50 market, you're buying essentially 50-cent positional markers that are then redeemable for $1 if your side wins and you don't get liquidated. And the power of leverage with that is you can make hundreds of percent on a money line bet that is even money or even odds versus having to do things like take a parlay or some combination of parlay and prop bets that maybe you don't want, right? So the theory behind Lever at its base is that users would rather take focused exposure onto one bet versus stacking multiple bets to get an increased payout with potentially some legs that they don't want. But the downside is, just like in a parlay, if you lose one leg, your entire bet doesn't win. If you cross your liquidation threshold with Lever, you're not going to win that bet. So we're just, quite honestly, guys, I'm a degenerate. I'm a degenerate sports. Everything. Oh, glitching a little bit. Sorry. Been doing everything from meme coin tradings to NFTs to the initial DeFi looped rounds and everything in between, right? So, but at heart, I'm a sports fan. I watch every single major game, do every single sports package, UFC fights, everything we can possibly get our hands on. And so I looked at that a few years ago, literally while watching a baseball game and trading GMX, and said, why can I not leverage up the outcome of this baseball game? Got an itch in my head and said, we need to build this thing. It's been extremely difficult. There is no other functional form of leverage that I know of that is going to be long-term successful without massive downsides on something like short-term binary event markets. So we're pretty proud of what we've built. It's been a long road to get here, and getting stuff like a few $1 million into a vault in the depths of the deepest, darkest despair of a bear market that we've seen is difficult, right? So this stuff takes the time, it takes heart, it takes energy. We're not going anywhere. This is just the start for us. And kudos to the Monad team. I've said this over and over again at probably every time you guys have heard me talk. we can't offer a product like this to retail unless there's a solid backbone of infrastructure to build it on. And that means stuff like still being able to make swaps, transfers, and transactions during a meltdown like 1010. That means being able to have retail users not get bogged down with something like an NFT mint going on a chain. And so the speed, execution, and low cost of Monad really made it for us the only choice of a chain that we could launch on besides standard. Of course, my internet starts catching out right as soon as we get on the call. It's been fine all morning, but I digress. The main thing that we want users to do is have fun on the platform, right? This is an entertainment form. It's meant to watch in tandem with watching the event that you're betting on or that you're placing market trades on. It's meant to be fun. Obviously, there's a financial component, so you have to take your risk-adjusted self into account there. Not financial advice, but I'd love everybody to go lever up on there. But at the end of the day, sports is meant to be entertainment, right? And to me, the funnest part of nope.
I think we got you back.
All right. The funnest part of sports is watching it with friends that also are entrenched in excitement about it, and betting on something, an outcome, just makes it that much more fun, because not only do you get the excitement of winning the game, you get the excitement of winning or losing some cash. So we're just really looking to bring a solid product that is not dependent upon the price of crypto or the market conditions to the world. And our hope is to bring this out to retail sports bettors nationwide and worldwide here very, very shortly with a backbone of Monad. And that's good for everybody in the ecosystem, right? If we can onboard 100,000 traditional normies to using a blockchain product that they don't even have to understand is blockchain, some of these people, a lot of them, are going to win money. What are they going to do if they win 100 grand on lever? Well, if that's me, I'm looking at that little option on the withdrawal that says just send to my Monad wallet. What's that? Let me go send in there. Let me go trade on Kuru. Let me go get a loan on Neverland. Right? Let me go see what else is out there and do other things. Let me go spend some perps or something interesting on Atlantis, right? So our hope is that some of that retail flow falls down into the rest of the ecosystem, and it's high tide rises all ships.
I absolutely love the outlook there. And that was one of the things that I was going to ask about for sure, because there's certainly strong overlap between crypto natives and sports betting. Like, this is the most degenerate arena probably ever, just like crypto in general. But there's also a ton of people that are not into crypto or not really familiar with trading and leverage that are very much so into sports betting. And this is like a whole other group of degenerates who certainly want to be able to maximize their wins when sports betting. And I was curious if we could unpack a bit more about how you're thinking, anything that you're willing to share, about the strategy to onboard the existing kind of sports betting cohort who might be on DraftKings or, even checking out prediction markets and, what do you think is going to pull them into lever? I think, once they're on there, it's probably a pretty compelling case for them to stay, because it is so differentiated, because you can really crank up the risk and have, some crazy intensity while you're watching some of these games.
I think one of the big things is we've got to come to them where they're at, right? And so a lot of these people live in betting forums. They live in Reddit and Discords. They're at sporting events, right? This is why you see everything is FanDuel's DraftKings sponsored or Fanatics sponsored right now, because those marketing dollars work to bring in users. So one of the great things for us about Lever is that we make the profit similar to a parlay betting specialty book or a prop shop. And that means we should have good revenue to go and spend and further our message in these standard marketing channels, right? So I expect to see this logo right here on pitch matches, on soccer games, on mats, on fights, right? We're talking with entry level places that we could potentially do sponsorships that are a little bit more degenerate, right? So TV doesn't kill me, then I'll be able to get us into stuff like a slap fighting sponsorship, or
Oh yeah.
Brazilian car jiu-jitsu, or something that's just otherworldly degenerate to start with, and roll all the way up into stuff like on-pitch advertisements for football matches, and hopefully in like Premier League and Champions League and the jurisdictions that we're allowed to operate in. And then, you look at stuff like what's going on with prediction markets right now.
Right.
Users like optionality, they like trading, and they like trust. There's also big stuff going on X, where if you look at like FanDuel's fucks people over constantly, pardon my French, Fanatics messes up and doesn't allow withdrawals, or doesn't clear games properly, or does anything they can to kind of slant stuff in their favor. And that's because it is basically negative to them to have a bunch of winners. We built Lever with the intent that anybody could come on at any time and bet on anything. If there's liquidity there for it, they can take it, and we shouldn't stop them from doing so, right? The onboarding process is very simple. You click in, you go through our Privy and Trails integration. Shortly, you'll be able to load in from your Coinbase account or your Binance account. You can send in from any chain and almost any token, and end up in Monad, in USDC, with it in your Lever account, right? And that's because we're trying to build the infrastructure preemptively to onboard normies. You can make an account with your email, do it through a Privy non-custody account, and just load that full of cash with your credit card and start betting, right? And so when you make it easy for them, when you attack them where they're at, and you give them a new product that makes more sense and is more fun than what they're currently on, I think that's the kind of recipe for success with it. And so I can't stress it enough, where our attack angle is at parlays. Parlays are like 60% of the market right now, and they're a horrible experience for most users, because when you make a parlay, like let's talk about it on the Super Bowl, I don't want to bet Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba and the over and the final score. I just want to bet the Seahawks to beat the hell out of the Patriots. I can't get that exposure right now, right? Not without putting down massively more capital. But on Lever, that exposure's there, and it exists for the first time as a new primitive. And so our aim is to try and educate and entrench users in that. We'll also have a lot of stuff like free bets coming for new signups when we get to retail stuff. The rake back that I've already talked about, we'll be looking to carry through. Referrals is another big one, where if you put people into the platform, you'll be able to share in the revenue that the platform creates from their usage, right? All that stuff in tandem should help us reach out to users beyond just the crypto native subset. Though they're important, we're targeting them first. They're going to be the lifeblood of the platform. So we don't want to forget about them, but an eye on the future is that we think standing on our own two legs with a great product, and then getting that in front of as many people as possible, is a recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good recipe to me. On the onboarding side, my intuition, and I'm not an expert here, so I'm going to rely on you, Mr. Blue, but my intuition here says that it actually may very well be easier to onboard to Lever than any traditional sports betting app. Is that safe to say?
As of right now, yes. And that's because technically we're a prediction market. We're not a sports book, right? And so we take the mindset of early poly market days, right?
Yep.
Where it should just be really easy to send in crypto to the product. There's no KYC existing right now for it. There's no barriers to entry beyond you having coins on some chain somewhere and being able to get to levr.bet. If you have those two things in tow, it's almost assured that you can get into the platform and bet to your heart's desire.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a game changer. The cost for a new customer for a lot of these sports books is in the hundreds of dollars. It might be like, close to $500. You probably know better than I do, but it's astronomical. And I've gone through, like multiple times in prior years, gone like halfway through the flow, and then I get to the, upload the ID stage, and it's like I'm just jumping through so many hoops. This this game that I'm trying to bet on is almost over. Like, this isn't worth it. And to really smooth out that onboarding experience as a prediction market and simultaneously be able to offer a net new way to bet on sports is super, super cool. And I think, there's going to be a lot of people that start paying attention to this. And I would also imagine that, the prediction market mania over the past year or so is actually really helpful for Lever. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, we've been the victim of circumstance here a few times, right? When we hit the market to start our first round in early 2023, people wouldn't touch gambling with a 10-foot pole, or what they looked at as gambling with a 10-foot pole, right? Then about mid-year, it turned into Shuffle and Rollbit and the other Web3 casinos getting a little bit of traction, some news, some hype, some good volume numbers. That opened up the door for us to exist in the first place, get in our first slew of investors, and really get the ball rolling on development and building the product out. And now we roll into today's market where, even though crypto is melting down as a whole and as an industry, the two shining stars have been Polymarket and Callsheet, right? And so when you look at that, you look at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of users coming into those products. You've got a bunch of different partnerships with major events, major brands, right? Robinhood, et cetera, et cetera. I know Coinbase has just launched a new prediction market. So this is a thing now. It's here to stay, and it offers some form of activity that is not just directly related to the crypto price, right? So obviously, it's fun to bet on like weather and what is this IPO going to be at here in a month and yada yada. But the vast majority of this stuff is still coming down to volume from sports betting, and it provides, in my mind, a little bit of a cleaner product because you don't have to worry about the onboarding headaches, and you don't have to worry about the rules changes and the kind of vagueness and the protections that traditional casinos and traditional sportsbook operators run on you. They're going to find every excuse under the sun to not pay you, right? Literally anything that they can possibly think of, they're going to skew in their favor because it's a highly centralized platform. If the Oracle on Lever says that the Pats won this Super Bowl, there's almost nothing I can do to stop that from happening, right? You're going to get paid if you won, were not liquidated, and the Oracle says the Pats won the Super Bowl. And our Oracle doesn't come from UMA, right? It's not a group of a DAO that can be pushed or swayed. It comes from an aggregated feed of real-world casinos after they all settle, right? And that, as well as like sites like ESPN, right? And so that's a consensus agreement versus just a manual process. And that's one of the things that we're proud of, is trying to build a fair and trustworthy product. And our 100%. Thesis behind this was, if we're going to bring something new that is degenerate as leveraged sports betting into market, enough people are going to lose enough money to where we need to ensure that they were being treated fairly and that they weren't being screwed over by a centralized product. So that's just kind of the motto that we've operated on for most of our existence now. And it's something that we're really proud to put out there.
100%. It feels like in a time right now where crypto is probably at its spiritual bottom. Like every day you see someone new crashing out on the timeline, leaving the industry altogether. We always talk about how there's the most alpha there, but it also brings back the people, or it really showcases the people that have the cypherpunk values, that really care about crypto here. And for you, it's really clear that for Lever, crypto was the only option. Can you talk a little bit more about, how you feel about the industry and why crypto was important for you guys to be the underlying way to launch this type of product?
Yeah, I mean, there's more than a few things there, right? And so the first and really most major one is we're not getting the vault capital loaded if we're not in Web3, right? There's functionally no way, we tried. There's no way that we can get this from traditional funding sources that would back like a startup sportsbook. It's too novel, it's too unique, it's too out there for them to understand, to be able to run risk on, and to figure out. So this is like we grabbed the sword, we had to go it alone type of thing, right? And there's also a large portion of this is trustworthiness. I want to be able to prove to you that you were liquidated fairly. I want to be able to prove to you that your cash is coming back to you in the manner that it should.
Right.
And that's trust and liquidity to me are two of the key cornerstones of DeFi, that it allows startups to activate without needing to give away a bunch of equity to a centralized manner, or to establish something that may be untrustworthy to get with. And then finally, one of the other things that is really unique to Web3 is that the users themselves are very apt to adopt products that are still in the middle of shipping feature set or evolving as time goes. Whereas if we bring this thing to 10,000 retail sports bettors right out the gate, if they have any sort of bad experience on it, they're not coming back. And as Danny talked about before, the cost of user acquisition on those retail sports bettors is extremely high. So it allows us this, trifecta of awesomeness to get liquidity in, to be trustworthy and establish ourselves, and to have friendly users that will allow us to grow into our own shoes as we operate the first few months. And that's just something that you can't buy outside of Web3.
And for users that are now looking at this stream and want to get excited day one and going in, I know there's a lot of things on the growth roadmap. Are there any specific campaigns you guys are going to do? Any specific activations, especially around big events like the Super Bowl? How are you going to make people, continue to be excited here? What are some extra bonuses they can expect?
Contests, right? Nice. So we had really, really, really good results from our March Madness contest on beta on Monad Testnet. And that's just, and our theory behind this is just, it's more fun to compete against a leaderboard as well as yourself in winning bets versus just staying stagnant on your own accord, right? And so we plan heavily on incentivizing contests around major championships and major events. So hopefully our contests will be set up in time for March Madness. I've been told that it will numerous times by my CTO and co-founder. But even if it's not long-term and ongoing, we'll be running contests on everything that we can possibly think of a contest for, so that if you participate, there's extra rewards to be had. And one of the good features about Lever, off of dollars through market,
we cut off at one of the good features about Lever. Boom. Stop.
All right. It's that we make a lot of dollars in revenue on money through the market, and that gives us a lot of dollars to feed back into users in incentives, in contest winnings, in prizes, right?
Nice.
We've always envisioned a world where, like, next Super Bowl, Lever's sending a few people there and a bunch of Lever swag because they did really good in the NFL season, right? We envision hosting events at these various major sporting events, hosting side events, and trying to entrench more people into Lever. And so, where we can spread the love and give back to the community in appropriate ways to try and onboard people and make them have more fun, that's kind of what we're looking for, right? And I know we're probably running up on time here because I see the scrolling schedule there. So I just want to say one thing to the crowd, which I kind of do every time I get on here. But let me take the glasses off and get my Yoel Romero on. Anything is possible if you believe. Anything is possible if you believe. If you have a project you want to create, get out there and do it. If you want to participate in Monad in a meaningful way, the only thing is stopping you is yourself. If you want to get on Lever Bet and make $1 million, it's there for you. Come and take it. Get it done.
Words of wisdom from
I have goosebumps.
Mr.
I have
Blue.
like chills, man.
I am fired up.
This is
a great time to be alive. It is a great time to be in crypto, and I am absolutely thrilled. Lever going live. Ton of work has been done behind the scenes to create a really cool and novel product. Mirth Mono, shout out Mirth Mono. It is his birthday, and he is a super fan, and he's saying in the chat he loved getting liquidated on LeverBet during testnet, is excited to try his luck on mainnet, and is very excited for U.S. market whenever that is possible. And I guess there's some maybe workarounds as well for those who know what they're doing. We did get a couple great questions from the chat that we didn't specifically call out, but we did talk about them during this segment. So rest assured, chat, we will be spinning the wheel for you and giving away some Mon. we'll cut to a brief intermission, but huge shout out. Big Mr. Blue, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much, sir.
And congrats on the launch. Really, really excited to see how this unfolds. Excited to get fired up this weekend, Super Bowl Sunday.
John W. Rich
Thanks
Kid
for
in
having
the
us, guys. Appreciate it a lot.
John
Incredible.
W. Rich Kid in the chat says he's going to name his firstborn child Mr. Blue.
Yeah. All the way from Monad Madness in October 2024 to then having, raised around with S tier funds, getting $2.5 million in the vault. We're about to go live. It's been a long journey, and as Mr. Blue said, if you believe it, you can do it. Anything is possible. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, indeed. We are back. It is Throughput Thursday, and our special guest for the next half hour is the wheel. Okay, yeah, Mr. Blue got us fired up. I mean, we were already fired up, but he's just icing on the cake. Very excited about Lever. In a little bit, 25 minutes, we've got Luke Go coming on. They're going to tell us some things, I think. Some new features,
some things.
new game modes. We've got Ed from Luke Go coming on in 25 minutes. But until then, it's just us hanging out, having a good time on Monad in the morning. If you caught Mr. Blue's segment, there's a lot of good clips in there. A lot of good material. A lot of good material indeed. And you know what? We're certainly going to spin for some clippers today. Shout out IOBNAD has really been clipping, but also reposting clips that we've made and put on Instagram and other platforms as well. And you know what? We encourage that. We strongly encourage that. You want to steal our content? Good. Take it. You can have it. You can post it, share it, send it to people, post it out into the world. Create your own clips, create your own mashups, and hey, we'll spin the wheel for you. That's how it goes. So IOBNAD is definitely getting a spin today. If I am correct.
Crushing it.
Yeah. IOBNAD's all over the map. Dude's insane. Absolutely love it. I think FromSa has been clipping quite a bit as well. Yeah, from Saw, dude. Oh, that's a good. That's a good throwback if you're like borderline boomer like I am. Saw, dude. All right, let's see. We also had, like I said before the break, and I will honor what I said. We had a couple people asking questions that we didn't directly shout out on the stream, but were covered on the stream.
We were looking at them. Yeah,
So-
there's a lot of overlap in different places. We like frame things here and there together. So
Yeah.
you guys informed the questions for sure.
Oh, yes, you did. The viewers are the lifeblood of this show. It is why it is a live stream. We've got the chat up on Justup's TV screen over there. It's not even a TV. I'm such a boomer. But hey, yeah, Justup's
Put it
TV.
up on the box over there.
Yeah, hey, Jessup, get that up on that,
On the motion box.
that newfangled technology box, huh? Yes, that television set. Okay.
Visual
So,
radio.
yeah. Yeah. It's like a radio, but I can see it. Innovation at its finest. So, Mirth Mono's getting a spin. IOBNAD's getting a spin.
Is it actually Sasuke's birthday too?
No way. We need some confirmation on
Yeah,
this.
I need proof of
We got
this.
a KYC real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. This is the kind of thing where
But it's
like,
from Jungle Trout said it, not Sasuke.
see, I don't know, like Jungie, this could go either way because Jungie could be messing with us, and that would be a smart way to mess with us. Because if Jungie said, "Oh, it's my birthday," we'd be like, "Yeah, right, Jungie." Like, no way. 1 in 365 chance. But Jungie's now saying it's whose birthday?
Sasuke.
Sasuke. I love that name. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. If it is, happy birthday, Sasuke.
birthday.
And Jungie, if you're actually on the ball and you're aware of it and you're correct, well, that's commendable. We appreciate you because we love to give shout outs to our superfan viewers. I don't know. I'm talking a lot about nothing, so why don't we spin the wheel?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Right, I see the chat is fired up. They want big ones for IOB, Nat, and Mirth. So we got to give it a shot.
All right. So okay,
We
first up, let's do Mirth Mono. Birthday man comes first. All right, let's go.
Go for it, Danny.
I'm gonna
Are you going around? Or
give this my
Yeah,
best. No, just
Nice.
Big wheel, big
little
wheel, big
little
wheel.
flick of the wrist.
6-7. God.
We're so washed. All right, Mirth Mono.
My son would be so disappointed in that.
Yeah, I mean,
Just because we're too old to be doing it.
yeah. Who?
Do you really think so?
Oh,
I
I
don't-
don't,
I don't-
do it. He's like,
He's like,
Not
"Dude."
cool.
But if someone says 6'7", and will your son do it himself?
Not anymore. He says it's dead.
It's over. It's dead.
It's cooked.
We're actually
It
washed.
was dead by the time we found out about it.
All right, we're
probably.
washed. Sorry, chat.
All right. IOBNAD, this one's for you.
All right. I'm going to time it. I got a button now, so I can.
All right.
Whoa.
In 3, 2, 1. It should have been 3, 2, 1, go.
Ooh. 1,000 mon.
Ooh. All right. All right. All right. All right.
And I think it timed pretty well, so I don't know if you heard it. Did you hear
Yeah,
it?
I did hear a little psh.
Nice.
I like that.
Nice.
Awesome. IOBNAD. Let's get one for Fromsa. Fromsa. In 3, 2, 1.
6'7".
Wow, man.
Look at that.
I didn't realize it was cooked. I thought we were still doing it.
Yeah, well, apparently we're just embarrassing ourselves up
Yep.
here. But that's okay. That's the name of the game. All right, who else did we have? All right, this is kind of a stretch one, but Kaivan Eth, another longtime listener, asked a pretty relevant question that we kind of covered. A little bit of a stretch, but hey, you show up. This is Monad in the morning. We want to spin
Everyone
for you.
wins. Everyone eats.
Everyone eats. Everyone eats. It
I
might
think
be
the
6
chat still wants you to do the 6'7" stuff, though, so.
I mean, do you
Dude, the
want?
chat might be washed too.
If you're in the chat, you probably don't want 6'7" to be hit.
Yeah.
You probably. I mean, it's better than 0. I will say that. Okay, 3, 2. Wait, who's this for? Sorry.
Kai Van.
Oh yeah. Kai Van Eth. Lo Ciento. All right, Kai Van Eth, this one's for you in 3, 2, 1.
Pretty solid. 690. Let's go.
Solid. I would be happy with that. I would be happier with that. Okay, I think that was a good little spin segment. We've got much more to come today, so stick with us. In 18 minutes, we will have Ed from LootGo joining us. Very excited for that. And then immediately following, we have the founder of the $1 Million Toilet, Motion by Nick, coming on. That is going to be a fun segment, and one that if we do our jobs right and you want to clip it and you make a nice clip and you post it up, hey, this is a pretty viral topic. So
Man, it's a trending topic. It's getting millions of views, and that content is up to you to grab, man.
I think what's interesting is like 11 hours ago, X posted that they're awarding $1 million, $500K, and $250,000 to the top 3 videos about Grok created with their new Imagine 1.0.
Oh, I see.
So it's interesting. Like, there's so much money being funneled through AI and these creator tools. And yesterday, Higgsfield released their kind of motion graphics, and they had a description that did not go well because it said, "We just ended 20 jobs with this feature."
Oh, man.
And it got a lot of backlash. But it is interesting because I don't know if it's ending jobs. I think it's just like, and I'm sure I've said this many of times, but like the people, if you could be replaced by AI, then you probably just weren't good enough because you still need taste. Like you still need to know what you're trying to create and how to use these tools.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see it. Like people are being awarded for creating stuff using these tools, and like you can see, it's not like everything coming from it is the same.
Sure.
I've seen some that you're like, holy cow, like that was incredible. There was a storyline behind it. There's certain things that just blow you away, and then there's other stuff that you're like, that's the definition of slop.
Right.
Yeah, it's I saw an interesting post recently. This is not an original idea of mine. saw an interesting post though that was basically saying like, okay, AI is obviously rapidly changing many games. Like it's changing the game, but it's also changing many games, right? And that rapid innovation and that rapid change does mean that in the short term, especially, things are kind of tumultuous, to use a great word. Look that up. Tumultuous, great word. But whatever happens kind of in the short term with like, you know, reshuffling of the workforce and, you know, some jobs being replaced does also mean that there's like new opportunities that come with it. And that's exactly what happened with the rise of the internet. And, you know, people still have jobs. Like, you know, this kind of happens with every technological innovation where it's like, oh, this is, you know, the end of like the human labor force, or this is the end of like XYZ thing. And it kind of is, but it's just an evolution of progress. And so like, you know, to the point here, that's probably what ultimately happens with AI. And honestly, there's not much point in being a doomer on it either, because like, what are you going to do to stop it? Good luck. You might as well get on board.
I think it's going, you know, the people who they're claiming that it's taking creative jobs, but I think the people who are going to thrive are the most creative.
For sure.
Like they're the ones who are going to be able to take it and run with it. And like, you really have to flex your creativity
for sure.
now.
Yeah.
And that's I think like a very different perspective than the narrative that's being pushed.
Yeah, exactly. And you see it in all industries where, you know, the person who has some expertise is always going to be able to prompt a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like if I can't just go into Claude right now and be like, make me the monad blockchain. But you could probably pull one of the engineers from CL, and then they're going to ask much more detailed questions, give it a work plan, and probably have 100x better output than I could ever have trying to do some technical, you know, like blockchain innovation, as opposed to you pull a guy off the street to do it, right? And to your point, you know, it's the same in the creative industry where you're going to use it in better ways. You're going to create that storyline. You're going to say, hey, this is my inspiration. I know you're about to do a shoot. This is like an AI mock-up of like how I want you to go and do it. But you're still going to actually apply it in the real world. So I think it's just a tool in the tool belt for a lot of us too.
Like I can describe the shot probably better than what somebody else is going to be able to. So yeah, the prompting is going to look different.
100%.
On the same topic, but another thing that has blown me away. I don't know if you guys saw Project Genie. Genie is Google's, like basically you can AI generate photorealistic and 3D worlds, and it feels like a game, which is absolutely wild. It, like, somebody generated a Greenland version of GTA. There's like just a bunch of crazy stuff that it's gonna really transform the way games are made. And I mean, even like in Arc Raiders, the all of the Arc are AI, ran by AI, so they're getting smarter over time, and they're like figuring out ways to, I mean, they're just improving and getting smarter. So it's making like I really see a Ready Player One world coming faster than we imagine.
We'll see. And speaking of, I think you brought up what Category Labs could do with AI.
For sure.
First of all, I mean, Category Labs is probably the most underrated company in the entirety of crypto, maybe the entirety of technology at this point. Like, it is truly the premier EVM research and development firm. And sure, they built the Monad blockchain from scratch over the past 3.5, 4 years now. And that alone is an extremely impressive endeavor. But this is a very sharp team that is not only shipping really fast and building really cool technology, but they are on the cutting edge of EVM research. And this is something that is going to be talked about much more widely in 2026, but also beyond, because it does take a bit of time for these things to get noticed and for these things to get validated. I think from an outside lens, 3-4 years of building is, obviously a good amount of time, and that's impressive, but it does take a little bit for these things to truly get recognized. But one of the coolest things is a lot of these engineers are have like very narrow and specific deep expertise in certain like fields. And when you combine all that expertise together, like you've got a couple guys that are, some of the sharpest compiler engineers in the world. And like these guys are not coming from crypto.
Oh yeah.
But now
I remember we have an HFT guy who is literally like doing the laying underwater fiber optic cable lines. Like these are the people at CL.
Yeah, and it's like, I think the mid curve like instant thought is like, you need to be like a crypto native dev to be like, one of the best engineers in crypto, and that is just simply not true. It's actually a product of originally a cohort of really sharp crypto native engineers, and then a cohort of people who were like, more on like the upskilling side of things, and maybe not quite as experienced with either Web 2 or Web 3 development. And historically, crypto just has not been very attractive or seen as a safe bet for some of these like really smart, really driven engineers. And, from an outside lens, things like meme coins and, the parts of this industry that don't look particularly serious can be off-putting to someone like that. But what I've been super impressed by is the talent pool at Category Labs and just how sharp this team is. And, that is exactly what you want working on novel technology.
Oh, yeah.
So very, very underrated Category Labs. Pay attention.
Pay attention. 100%. Awesome. I think we're 8 minutes away from going live with Luco. But as Danny said, a lot of interesting things going on in the world. We've been talking about AI. We've been talking about crypto. We're going to have a special segment, as Danny mentioned, I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
Specifically about our hackathon. But I will say the thing I've been thinking there is, in many cases, Monad is already the future of blockchains. Obviously, we're still very ambitious. And again, it's the starting point. But at the same time, I think almost everything is downstream of AI now. And I think for us, that's going to be one of the biggest focuses for what we're excited to see come to play on Monad. And I think there's a world where, we've been talking about this for years, honestly, at this point. Every time, something starts to bubble up, I don't think it's happening for no reason, right? Like people want this to come into existence, where there probably is a world where you have autonomous agents on the blockchain and there are more agents trading than there are humans. And you probably get to a world where one of the best use cases of blockchains and decentralizations is preserving privacy and autonomy because we live in this AI state. And Monad is really built for that future. Things like parallel execution, creating fast environments is exactly what you need if you're going to have swarms of thousands of agents. And we're seeing some pretty crazy stuff happening over there. And I know you don't want to spill too much alpha, but that's one of the biggest things we're excited about on the foundation side, at least.
Yeah, I mean, like this multiverse hackathon, if you're not like kind of deep into Claudebot and vibe coding or Maltbot now, it's like maybe a little bit hard to like really see the magnitude of this, but I think like one, come by the stream tomorrow. We'll talk about it with Hasib. I'm super excited for that. But the lineup of supporters that have just jumped in, like this thing was literally ideated on Saturday, and you now have some of the biggest players in the crypto space and the AI space supporting this hackathon. Ethereum Foundation, the DAI team, like that's pretty cool. I don't even know, like, I think we have a couple more that are not technically announced yet that are like jumping in to support this, both from like, you know, the like pure AI side, as well as the crypto side. And I don't know if we can talk about that. We probably should, but like maybe to give a little alpha. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here?
I might not even know what's happening here.
What am I doing? Chat. Anyone? I don't know. We'll see.
Drawing a circle?
Oh. What could this mean?
What could that mean? What could that mean?
Monad conspiracy.
Yeah. Hey, this is honestly maybe we make that we make that a segment.
I think we should have talked with Mr. Blue more about which conspiracy theories he was going on about today. I mean, I believe he's a thoughtful man. He probably knows his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, be interesting, chat. You can go ask GPT or Claude about, you know, Monad's potential in the agentic space, Monad's potential in general. Like, the information is out there. The puzzle pieces are out there. The puzzle itself is being assembled in real time, and the rest of crypto seems to be, you know, just depressed, to be quite honest with you. And, you know, I'm feeling some big tailwinds here. I'm super excited, and it all kind of comes back to the tweet that Keone keeps firing off every week, every other week. We can stay optimistic and productive longer than you can remain grumpy. Whoever you are, might as well join us. So that's what I got to say. We're cooking. 100%. The chain is fast. Like, why not?
Yeah.
L2s are out. EVM L1.
Monad is in.
Monad's in. Hey,
yeah.
Monad is on the menu for 2026.
Yeah.
I will tell you that right now.
And we keep saying this, but this whole thing about, you know, the state crypto ad, again, it's probably the best time to actually be building or paying attention in crypto. Because again, during, you know, the bull market, a lot of stuff is happening. This cycle, a lot of meme coins, for example, and people just, you know, getting mad that everything's a meme coin. And if it's not a meme coin, it's just like infrastructure that I can't touch. But during these times when crypto is quiet, it's when you get the people who really care about the industry, who have the right values. And what they try to do is just very cool experiments. And kind of like what Mr. Blue said, part of the reason you go to crypto is because it's the fastest place to go 0 to 1. It's the easiest way to get liquidity. It's the best way to get a community behind. So we're always going to see some crazy ideas come out of crypto and make it into the real world. Has anyone heard of a prediction market? That 4 years ago was just some crazy tiny idea that Shane was cooking on. And now, you know, ICE, who's behind the New York Stock Exchange, is saying that that's going to 100 billion.
Yeah.
It might be bigger than the entire New York Stock Exchange. And the reason why it can exist is because it's built on crypto rails for experimentation. And I think the reason why Danny and I, we're sitting behind you optimistic today because we work in this industry full time. And obviously there are days when, things are bleak out there. But then you talk to a couple of builders and then you see the things that are happening under the hood and you're like, oh, wow, this is a train that's never stopping. If I have to borrow a Dip Wheeler quote, the train only runs in one direction and we keep going after it.
And I mean, as someone who started their career in software sales, my job was basically to look through a list of leads in the CRM that I had to call and dial these people up. Same thing every day. Sure, it was nice to close a new lead. It stinks when you talk to someone and then you don't get the deal over the line. So there's like a little bit of up and down, but it's so monotonous. It's so boring. It's the same thing every day. Why would you not want to be pushing the limits at the forefront of new technology? And of course that comes with volatility, both price-wise and with emotions as well. But if you pick the right people, to work alongside, to learn from, and to follow. Like, the opportunities are absolutely endless. The thing is, it requires a lot of hard work. Like, otherwise you're just kind of winning the lottery. And if you have won the lottery, or if you do win the lottery, good on you. That is awesome. I'm super happy for you. But it's not a realistic thing to fall back on.
Yep.
So you might as well, in the limited time that you have, go full force and make something cool happen. And that is the exact opportunity that I see today. Everyone talks about, the trading the thing after it already pumps, right? Like, that's like what happens. Like, something goes up, it looks green, everyone talks about it. This is not unique to crypto. This is exactly how media and conversations go in the stock market. It's probably why Jim Cramer is almost always wrong, because they're talking about the things that are already known,
right.
And the opportunity is much less when it is a consensus take or a consensus trade. So you got to go find something to believe in and, bet on that, whether that's with your time, your energy, or what have you. And, I just really feel like Monad is the ecosystem to make this happen. And, now we're catching some winds of optimism amidst, what is kind of a bit of a bleak crypto winter. And, if you want to get hyped up, go follow John Galt. That guy is unbelievable. Shout out John. He is, really out there on the timeline all day talking about, what's actually different about Monad. And that's just such a cool thing. I am yapping here, and I think we have Ed on call. Loot Go is cooking on Monad mainnet, so let's bring on Ed, see how he's doing today.
We say we love to walk, but how much do we really walk? When I was a kid, my mom used to bribe me with candy just so I would do my homework. And that idea stayed with me. A little nudge, a lit reward. Come on! Years later, I was inspired to use the same idea for Loot Go. Loot Go turns your city into a treasure map. For every 1,000 steps, you earn a loot box. Take the long way home, there's a loot box. Walk to your favorite cafe, there's a loot box. Chase your ex? Okay, not that one. But what's inside a loot box? Crypto, NFTs, raffle tickets, coupons, and chaos you'll love. Turns out fun can make you healthier and wealthier. So I tested Loot Go with friends, then thousands of strangers. And in a week, people were walking more, earning more, all that just from walking with Loot Go.
Walk more, earn more. Ed, welcome to Monad in the Morning. Super excited to have you here today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Every time I watch that video, I smile a bit because it's such a fun video to watch, but also to film.
I'm sure. I mean, this is like honestly incredible content. I remember Jessup showed me this video for the first time a couple months back, and I was just blown away. Like, just really on point from like the production side of things. The editing's super cool, and
we were laughing out there.
yeah, we were laughing behind the scenes, like, maybe don't chase your ex.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we were actually supposed to do this segment in person today. I have to apologize to Ed and the viewers as well. I totally botched the schedule. We were supposed to have Ed come up first. He's got a flight to catch later today. So hugely appreciate the flexibility calling in remote as well, because the people need to hear about Loot Go. So thanks for being here despite my massive blunder.
Oh yeah, no worries. And if I do get kicked out, I'm actually still in my hotel room. I asked them if I could stay an extra like 30 minutes. But if I get kicked out, you'll know why.
Okay, well, we will indeed, hoping for the best here, but let's jump right into it. So I would imagine most of the viewers have heard of Loot Go, one of the most exciting projects for the community to play around with on testnet. There's been a ton of rapid iteration and new features as well. But let's start at the beginning. What is Loot Go? What's the vision for the app that you and the team have been cooking on for several years now?
Yeah, so Loot Go is a real-world treasure hunting mobile game on iOS and Android. We conceived of the idea actually just before Monad Madness Bangkok, and that's actually where we initially pitched the idea. So when we presented, like we hadn't started building, it was purely just an idea. Like we wanted to present what we wanted to build, but I think the idea is like we wanted to create something that could get people touching grass, going out into the real world. And also get healthier and wealthier because there are a lot of move to earn apps out there, and we wanted to sort of like put our own twist to it.
Super. I absolutely love it. I know Jessup's been one of the daily active users on Loot Go. He's kind of, I think, busy pulling up the video that we're going to show for some of the new features here, but I do want to hear from Jessup, who's actually had more hands-on experience with the app than I even have. What's that experience been like?
Yeah, I mean it's I think like I've always been a firm believer in just kind of the move to earn or just any type of app that gets people out and moving, stuff like that. It's like Pokemon Go with crypto. I mean, it's probably the easiest way to describe it. But they're adding in a bunch of cool features, and I know I've talked to Yuki about different things that excited to see, and I think they got some new features now that Ed was gonna bring up.
Yeah, why beat around the bush? Let's talk new features.
Yeah, so I think about 2-3 days ago, we launched this concept of like a pack booster. So with a pack booster, as you can see in this video, you can activate it and you can collect Pokemon cards on chain on Monad when you walk to a treasure chest. I think it came to it because yeah, like as it's described, it's like Pokemon Go with crypto, but we weren't like too much with the Pokemon Go part, and I think like this actually sort of brings us closer to like Pokemon Go associated with our app, because previously or even currently one of our advisors was a Pokemon Go game designer, and so I think like through him like there's a lot of learnings and like things related to game design, game mechanics that we want to introduce to make it more fun. And we know there's a lot of folks in Monad that already collect Pokemon cards. So we just thought that collecting on-chain Pokemon cards is sort of the next evolution or next iteration.
So these are real Pokemon cards. They can be discovered in geographic locations digitally in the game, but they're also backed by real Pokemon cards, right?
Yes, that's correct. So we're working with a partner that has sourced these Pokemon cards, and then they put it on chain. So right now, like if you buy a pack booster and you walk and you collect these Pokemon cards on chain, you do own the NFT, which if you choose to redeem it, you can actually get physical delivery of that card. So if you wanted, the physical card, you can do that. Or if you want to, collect it as an NFT because it's easier to trade, you can do that too. Sorry, hang on 1 second.
No
I think it's nice. Sorry, let me.
No worries. We'll monologue for a minute.
Oh, we love monologuing for sure. I mean, I think this is really cool, and I'm curious, if Ed doesn't get kicked out of his hotel room here to kind of get his take as well. But obviously the NFT space went crazy in 2021 with this idea of like everything's going to become a digital collectible, and the pendulum swung so far bullish on this stuff that like random IPs were popping up and valued at like hundreds of millions or billions of dollars without actual consumer traction. But in the meantime, we've seen steady progress over the past couple years, aside from these large, pendulum swings in the like crypto native NFT space, where digital collectibles and collectibles in general are just becoming increasingly popular. And so I think this concept of bringing this into a game, that already feels a bit like Pokemon Go, but adds a whole nother layer where you can now bring this together with the people that are actually collecting these these collectibles, whether they're physical or digital. So curious for your general thoughts on that, but also, more broadly, like where is the collectibles space going? Do you see this becoming increasingly more digital over the next few years?
Yeah, I think definitely, because I think the main benefit of putting these collectibles on chain is that it makes it extremely liquid, because you can just purchase the NFT that is backed by the underlying asset. So it makes it a lot easier to whether you're in Japan or in the U.S. or Canada, you can purchase the same thing, and I can sell you that asset very easily. And then again, if you choose to redeem the physical card, then you can choose to redeem
Nice.
it. But I think having that liquidity helps a lot. And I think what you said before about the NFT market, yeah, like so previous to Loot Go, our team actually was working on NFT loyalty and marketing programs for enterprise. So I think from there it was more around more like utility based NFTs, where like if you hold this NFT, you get certain points like when you go to certain retail shops and whatnot. Specifically, we're mainly focused on Japan, and I think like that is still very much alive, because like our team is kind of based in Japan, and talking to enterprise there, like they are definitely interested in like sort of NFT based loyalty programs, and we actually recently joined this program at Tokyo Dome City. It's like a mini city entertainment complex with 100K daily visitors. It has a roller coaster. It has like a baseball stadium. It's basically like literally a small city. Yeah, they've been exploring like leveraging like NFTs to enhance the guest experience for a while. So I think like sort of like Loot Go at this intersection of tourism and entertainment, it's like a really good match for them. And I think just one more idea about utility NFTs. So we actually launched an NFT on Monad, our Genesis NFT, called the Loot Go Compass NFT. So fortunately, thanks to like overwhelming support, like we were able to mint out in like 17 minutes. But Compass holders, are sort of like our representation of like our early supporters and people who believe a lot in us, and so I think like for us, like it's a utility NFT that will always get certain advantages or benefits like whenever we run these like programs or campaigns. Like for example, this pack hunt pack booster campaign, we were doing raffles exclusively for Compass holders, and like as part of like the campaign, like we're giving away about $1,300 in Mon every single week for people who purchase these pack boosters. But there's like specific raffles like just for Compass holders, and they can also get bonus entries as well. So I think it's like, how do you like incorporate these like utility NFTs like into whether it's like your game or your product, especially to like reward early supporters and believers of your product. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm curious, like, obviously the crypto native side of things has been quite strong. Like, Loot Go was super hyped by the Monad community during the testnet phase, like, ton of people onboarding. That momentum has certainly continued on mainnet, but this is a product that is very accessible to a market well beyond crypto natives. And I'm curious how you and the team are thinking about onboarding and growth beyond those who are currently in crypto today.
Yeah, for sure. I think the treasure hunting meta is like just really accessible and understandable for like all cultures around the world, which is great because I think everywhere in the world has a concept of a treasure hunt. And so the way we've built it is like it's very like smooth onboarding. Like they don't need to create like a crypto wallet themselves. We leverage Privy to create embedded wallets for them. I know in our app, we do talk about like tokens and crypto, but if we kind of sort of like change the wording, right, like you wouldn't actually realize that this is actually built on crypto rails. And I think the Tokyo Dome City program is our first step into onboarding retail users who are non-crypto crypto native. But we've also had some Web2 gaming and fitness influencers reach out to us about working together because they saw this as like a very sort of like easily accessible way to get exposure to crypto, and even for them, like not just the influencer but their communities, to like, I guess, put their toe into the crypto world in a very easy to understand and safe way. And I think having this sort of fitness, like move to earn concept is actually just very it's a very easy way to onboard people, right? Like it's not, you're not going to ask people to like dive right in and start, trading perps or like
Yep.
like very very sort of like DeFi related things. It's more like, hey, like you're walking anyways, like why not, collect rewards and treasures along the way.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Good question from Mirth Mono came through the chat. And paraphrasing here, but Mirth Mono basically says that like there's been kind of numerous attempts either on the crypto native side or even, fully Web 2 to build something that's at least broadly in a similar vein to what LootGo is doing here. Like there's been, move to earn apps, and obviously Pokemon Go had its time in the sun with massive viral traction, probably like 2018, 2017 or around there. Mirth Mono asks, what are the most important lessons that you learned from other apps' failures, and how do you adjust to optimize for success on LootGo specifically?
Yeah, I think like looking at the Web3 space of like Web3 move to earn, I think a lot of existing products, like they've done a really amazing job, but I think a lot of it related to relying on their own token in order to provide value. But the challenge with that is like if their token price goes down, then you'll see like the activity also correspondingly like also go down quite a bit. And so I think that's not very sustainable. So when we built it, we thought of like combining sort of like the best of both worlds of leveraging crypto rails, but then taking a lesson from very successful Web2 move to earn apps. So like there are move to earn apps where they're more focused on providing value like through like a sponsorship model or like affiliate model. And these are apps with like 25 million users or 25 million ARR type of experiences. So I think we're sort of, instead of like reinventing the wheel, we're actually like trying to see like what makes apps successful and like how do we incorporate them. Yeah, but I think part of it is also like we're fairly flexible in terms of like how we see the evolution of LootGo can be. Like if there is a model that like works really well, or if like there's like mechanics that work really well, like we're definitely going to adopt it. Yeah.
That makes sense. And for those who haven't used LootGo too much, can you give an idea of what are the types of rewards that you currently have? Obviously, yeah, it's pretty incredible that you guys are going into like the collectibles world, for example, where there's a ton of real value on there and there's really easy crypto overlap because it just makes these markets super liquid, and there's an underlying that you can actually redeem and get shipped to your house if you want to. And I'm kind of paraphrasing from a few of our community members in the chat. So AskCalls9, Mirth Mono are both kind of asking about this. Like, how do you balance user incentives without relying on inflationary rewards? What really is the business model behind here? Because we also know that there is a paywall component, there's a free-to-play component. How do you balance your business model with giving rewards? How do those rewards continue to evolve as you guys grow?
Yeah, so far from testnet to now, like a lot of the reward sourcing is actually through partners. So I think the advantage of LootGo is that so currently we have about 60,000 users and about 8,000 to 9,000 daily active users, and the number of impressions is about like 2 million impressions on a weekly basis. Because people are coming back every single day, they're opening up like multiple loot boxes, and so like if you're a project and you want to increase awareness or discovery for your product or for your token, then this is like a really good way to do it, because like for like a typical user, you're either getting a loot box like from walking every 1,000 steps, or you actually walk to a randomly spawned loot box on the map. And when you open the loot box, like you get these rewards, right? Like mostly partner sourced. And so that reward is very positively framed, right? You're like, hey, I just walked, like a few hundred steps, and like, oh, what am I gonna get? And you get like you get like a jersey from Lever Bets, right? Like, and so now you're suddenly like, oh, like I have a very positive association, with that product or with that project. And so, yeah, currently we do a lot of sourcing from partners, from testnet to now. I think we've worked with about 80 to 90 Monad partners, like projects, providing like their rewards. Like if it's an NFT project, it's whitelists, guaranteed or first come first serve, or the NFTs themselves, or like it's like jerseys, or like other things. And then we're also starting to work with more like token projects to also put it into the treasure chest, as I mentioned, like as a way to increase exposure and very positively framed experience for the project, and a very repeated exposure too. I think the marketing psychology is like you have to see something 5 to 7 times before you decide to buy it, like from like initial awareness all the way to like, yes, I'm going to purchase this product. And so like we're kind of seeing people getting repeated exposure to these projects. I think the longer term, like we're going to continue doing that, but we're also going to look at things that are maybe a little bit more scalable. So for example, like we've been working with like some partners to provide like referrals or affiliates. So like we have an upcoming campaign with PingMe, who's building sending stable coins like on Monad, like through email. And so like with those partners, like we're sourcing rewards for our users, but then also, providing a win-win situation with sponsors as well.
Yeah, love that. And I think we're actually supposed to have Ping Me on the show here in the near future. I don't know that we've locked down a specific date or segment, but what I really love to see here is like this ecosystem growth on the Monad side in the form of like multiple different types of projects collaborating with one another to ultimately just create a better user experience, and doing so in like ultimately a decentralized manner. Like this is kind of what crypto is all about. And it's starting to come to fruition. Like this is certainly the early innings here. But for LootGo specifically, you guys have been around for a while. We've had the chance to meet in person at various conferences, meetups, founder events, and LootGo is one of the first consumer apps to really champion building on Monad. And that's been awesome to see, but curious what played into that decision. And Beneath Count in the chat also asked a similar question. So
so initially we learned of Monad, I think in 2024 in August. We were actually building a different product. So we were building like sort of like a Web3 Foursquare on Farcaster. And at that time, Yuki was invited to a founders dinner, and where the Monad team was invited as well. And at that time, we first learned about Monad, and we were just kind of sharing like what we were building. And I think the amount of interest and care given to us, like even though we're not building on Monad, because DevNet wasn't even available, we really appreciated it. And the team was just so incredibly helpful that we're like, oh, actually, like now that we're building this new product, like we definitely want to like explore like building on Monad. That's sort of like the I guess the softer or like the more like the qualitative reasons, but then the quantitative reasons is also like very high like TPS, like especially for a consumer app, like you want something like this because especially like when we're giving out rewards to like a lot of users and eventually like millions of users, like we want something that's like very reliable and like very quick in order to like provide these kind of rewards. I think it's like a combination of a few things, but at least from my perspective, honestly, it's just like the Mona team is just like very, very kind to builders. And so because of that, like that was like one of the biggest factors. Um, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, on behalf of the team, definitely appreciate that, and really see it as important too, because we were talking earlier in the show, like there's a lot of ups and downs when you're at the forefront of technological innovation, and it is not easy to found a startup. Like it's probably one of the hardest things that you can ultimately go and do, and it really takes a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and even beyond founders in crypto, like the classic advice for anyone getting into crypto, whether you're a founder, a trader, whether you're just like starting to learn about crypto, everyone says, don't go it alone. Like don't try and do this all by yourself, because even if you have the brains and the technical capability to do so, it wears on you, and you need to be surrounded with people who can pick you up when you're down, provide those tough feedbacks at times, and like really have alignment across a shared mission and a shared goal. And that's just infinitely harder if you're kind of feeling isolated. And so that's one of the things that we're really focused on. We have been in the past, but certainly for 2026, and the way that sentiment is around crypto right now, it's like we need to revitalize the optimism in crypto, and we need to revitalize the hope in the future of startups building in crypto. And the only way we're going to do that is by getting people together and sharing ideas, sharing feedback, sharing values, and maybe sharing a little hopium as well, because that's what keeps you going. But curious for your perspective on that, because obviously it hasn't been the easiest time to build in crypto, and from everything that I've seen, the LootGo team is just powering forward, shipping new features, talking to users, iterating. These are exactly the things that you look for in a founder, not shying away from the hard problems. And how's that experience been?
Yeah, like I have to say, like, it hasn't been like a purely smooth experience, right? Like you said, there's definitely ups and downs, but I think like if you're building in an ecosystem where like other founders are also very supportive of each other, I think that helps a lot. I do believe that like rising tide lift all boats, and I think your comment about like this sort of like cross team collaboration is really important, because it's not just especially like if you can find an opportunity to create a win-win situation for everybody. And then I think to your point about like just like staying positive, I think it's also important to sort of like pay our NFT. I think we had so many people tell us like, like your floor price is like way too high, like it's crazy, like you'll never mint, like oh good luck, and it was just very negative, right? But we're like, oh, but those aren't our real users, right? And they aren't really our supporters, right? And sure enough, like we minted out in like 17 minutes, right? And so like if we had listened to them, like we would have sort of gone. So when I visited the office yesterday, I was mainly there to just like introduce myself, say hi in person, right? But then I think Greg and Charles just kind of immediately jumped into like, hey, how can we help, right? Like, let's brainstorm some ways to like help. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like I was just here to like say hi, because I'm in New York. But I think like that's the kind of experience that's like like you kind of remember, right? You're kind of like, oh, like yeah, that's cool. Like that's very supportive. And I think especially like the proactiveness, right? Like I'm not going to name any sort of like names or anything, but I think previously like we're building on other chains before Monad, we were aware of it, and they were not very helpful, right? I think we were still doing really cool stuff, especially on the enterprise side. That like I think it's like objectively I think super cool and pushing adoption, but like we didn't even get like a response, right? We're kind of like, oh, okay, like that's not cool. But I think Monad has been like super helpful. Like I said, I think the team is super helpful for builders, and that's why we continue to build on Monad.
Awesome. Well, absolutely love it. Ton of exciting things going on across the ecosystem and, of course, at LootGo specifically. Really appreciate you being on here today to unpack a little bit. If you're watching this and you don't already follow LootGo and you haven't checked out the app, you should probably check it out. It's pretty darn cool. So highly encourage that. The handle is tagged right here on the screen. And if you navigate over there on Twitter, you will find everything that you need to onboard, learn more about LootGo, and start moving with rewards and loot boxes. Super fun. Thanks also for the patience around the scheduling side of things and jumping in here remotely. Glad you didn't get fully kicked out of your hotel room yet, but appreciate you being here and look forward to running this back soon, hearing some updates, progress, etc.
Thank you so much, Ed. We will see you very soon. And shout out and go follow LootGo.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks.
Of course. All right. We are in our final half hour of the day here, and I think our next guest has called in. I am super excited for this one. It was quite opportunistic, was seeing the $1 million toilet trending all over multiple social media platforms. I first saw it on Twitter because I don't spend a lot of time personally on Instagram, but I think that's where it first popped off. We are about to be joined by Motion by Nick, one of, if not the most creative motion designers on the internet, and we'll hear the story from him firsthand, but he has been selling ad space on his toilet, no less. This is going to be the first $1 million toilet probably in the history of the world. Nick, thank you very much for joining us today. Super excited.
Thank you for having me. How's it going, guys?
Fantastic. We're getting some nice sound effects in the background. Was that
I
you,
think a
Justin?
flush would have been more suited.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
We have no idea where that came from. Hey, all right. Well, absolutely love it. Welcome to the show, Nick. This is an interesting one to unpack, and glad that we were able to make this happen. But like, maybe to start, like, how did this idea come to fruition? And then we can back up a little bit and talk more about what you do on the day-to-day beyond this virality.
Sure. So I am what's called a motion designer. So I do motion graphics for all kinds of big brands, and I focus more on the experiential side. So I work on things that people interact with. So maybe you see a touch screen at a museum, or a projection mapping video at some kind of event that you went to. So that's the kind of stuff that I do. I've been doing that for a long time, and I teach it as well. I have a YouTube channel and some courses and a lot of free resources for the motion design community to learn how to do this kind of stuff. And so, I was working on some big projection mapping projects. And so I dusted off a projector that I had bought during COVID to watch movies, like outside, and just started kind of projecting on stuff in my house. So I would do different rooms or different objects. And at one point I started to get a little frustrated because I was like, this is so cool, but like, it's not performing well. And I was kind of like, feeling sorry for myself. And then my wife, maybe as a joke, was like, well, just go do it on the toilet then. And I thought, wait a second, that's like a really good idea. And so I did it. I literally projection mapped onto a toilet just for fun. And it just went crazy and it blew up. And so I did one with a snowman that went even bigger. And so I kind of hit this stride of just projection mapping art onto random relatable objects. And if you don't know what projection mapping is, it's basically you have a projector, you aim it at a surface, and then you can warp the different surfaces, so you're like shining light and illuminating something and basically making something appear that's not there.
I do have the video queued up here too, so if that helps.
Yeah. So then, I on social media, like when you have a winner, you want to double down on it. But like, I'm the kind of person, I have a pretty big following, and I'm really hesitant to sell out my audience, do sponsor like brand stuff. Whoa, that's so loud. But I appreciate the I appreciate the
Sorry,
vibe.
we don't even know
So
where that sound is coming from.
okay, I'm not doing it either. And so I just kind of randomly I thought of people keep relating it to $1 Million Homepage, which was something that was from maybe like early internet days, where a guy, he had 1 million pixels and he sold each one for $1. He made $1 million off of it. Uh, that's actually not where my inspiration came from. The red paperclip. So this story was, there was a guy who had a red paperclip, and his goal was to make a series of trades until he got a house. So he traded the paperclip for a pencil, then the pencil for a folder, then the folder for a bike, and it went on, and he did it. He flipped it up to a house from a paperclip, and I think it was like under 20 trades. It's really crazy. And so that's where my inspiration was. I was like, maybe I could just I wonder if I could just brute force $1 million and just like force it to happen just through sheer stupidity. And I don't know, will it work? Maybe, but I'm gonna try because it's working so far.
Yeah. So where are you at on the brand side? Because I think it was initially a Microsoft Teams was on there. I don't know if that was like something that you actually coordinated with Microsoft, or if that was like more of an example. I saw MoonPay, I saw Gemini. So where are you at in terms of like chipping away towards the $1 million goal? Because you've priced this relatively accessibly for the virality that these brands are getting.
Yeah, so the Microsoft Teams one, that was a joke. I thought, what is the worst company that I could like be sponsored by? And I was gonna go with like Palantir or something, but I didn't know if people would kind of like know that was a joke fully, or if that was just maybe like tech people know that's a joke. Right. So I went with Microsoft Teams, and I think that was the perfect call because they saw it too and they thought it was funny. But it just. I think a lot of people didn't know it was a joke, which made it even funnier. And so that one was kind of like my like proof of concept, like could this be a thing? So I got MoonPay, I did Resell Calendar, which is like a really nice app where you can rip off children who are just trying to buy collectibles. You can like find the best way to rip them off. And then I just did drop one today that was for like if you ever fantasize about athletes, it's like a fantasy sports app. So that one went today, and I want to say I have like 10 more in the queue. I'm trying to do one per day. The ones that we're going to see over the next couple of days are definitely, I'm incredibly excited about. Everyone is going to know who they are, and they're going to, the format might change a little bit too. So I'll say I have a mixture. What I find to be really funny about this is like I'm curating who goes on, but I'm also kind of giving like little guys a shot. So I have alongside like a household name brand that like your grandma will know. I also have just like a random thing in North Carolina. Like, and I think to me that kind of mixture is just really funny to just kind of get all the sponsors on the board together.
100%. And now you kind of have this lightning in a bottle type of moment. How do you think about continuing on the virality? Obviously, there's a long queue of brands and a lot to post from there. But yeah, what goes through your head about how do you kind of continue this on?
Yeah, well, there's like a couple things about it. One is that the brands, the earlier they get on, they're going to stay on for the whole time, right? It's like a NASCAR vehicle filling up with ad spots. So the brands are incentivized to promote every single one as well, because every single one that does well, they're on it still, right? So everyone now like MoonPay's along for the journey, right? They're going to be there out kind of talking about it every single time. And I think it's, it's potentially a self-fulfilling prophecy. Just the kind of absurdity of it, like, might make it actually come true. And maybe there will just be someone who is just so crazy that they want to push it over the edge. I don't know. I'm already extremely happy with with where it is, it's already just kind of better than I could have even hoped for. So, but I think we're, and everyone watching, they're into kind of seeing it evolve as well. Like I'm pretty sure everyone wants to see this toilet get super filled up.
Definitely. It actually reminds me of something that I overheard on the train in New York like 2 weeks ago. And it was somebody, I think they were talking about certainly some large conference, maybe like consumer electronics, which I think is upcoming. And they were basically saying that the ad spots were so ridiculous. Whatever conference this was charging like 35 grand for an ad placement in the toilet stalls. And the guy was basically laughing at that, saying like, who would pay, $35,000 or who would pay anything to have their brand associated with a toilet? And then by happenstance, within a week or two, this is like the viral way for brands to, get placement and get clicks. And it just shows that like oftentimes something that is counterintuitive or feels like super ridiculous is actually what works because it stands out amongst all the generic noise. Like probably would not have taken off if you had done this on like the side of your house, for example, or somewhere random without like this ingredient of like, wait, that's crazy. Like, is this people are paying for this?
100%. Like, there's a couple of kind of like points to that, right? One is it's almost like an underdog story, which everyone loves. Or like you're just like, I want to root for this. Like I want this to be a thing. And so, and then kind of like the back end metrics of it are also, like the MoonPay video got I think 2 million views for $1,000. Like if you know marketing metrics, like that's just a ridiculous return on investment for them, and it's only going to go up from there. So they're buying spots on a toilet. They're also buying spots on multiple social media channels at once. Like that's kind of like the backdoor, like not funny part of it, but it's very true and it's important. But you're totally right. I mean, it wouldn't work it has to be this dumb. Like it has to, because that this is what I've learned on my kind of creator journey. I can make an animation tutorial and it can be the best tutorial that's ever made, but that only matters to maybe like, a couple thousand people that are in that world. That doesn't matter to my friends or my cousins. Like it doesn't mean anything to them. But if you're able to take your craft and dare I say art, if you're able to take your art and make it more accessible so that anybody watching can understand what's happening and want to be involved in it, that's kind of how you take it up a notch.
And now that it has gotten more and more viral, like it's, as you mentioned, it's kind of been compounding on itself. Are you changing the pricing model as well? We know that the first few you mentioned, MoonPay I think was $1,000. I was looking at some of the posts. I think it's like in the range of 4,000 was the latest that you posted. But it seems like there's a lot in the queue. What does the pricing model look like? Are we getting closer and closer to the million?
Yeah, I mean we're getting closer and closer to the million. I mean, million's a big number, so we're not that close at this point, but we're definitely every day we're getting, every day we're getting closer. And as far as the pricing model, the pricing is just all over the place, but my theory is that having a range of pricing and people are kind of gobbling up the $1,500 spots on the toilet lid. It's great real estate. As people buy these spots, then only spots remaining get more expensive. I'm not changing the prices currently. I want to stick to the pricing model that I've kind of shared publicly. But what that means is that maybe there's a FOMO effect. You want to get in while there is a cheaper pricing in a good location. Otherwise, you're going to be forced to cough up a lot more to be on the toilet seat or in the back of the bowl. So maybe there's a FOMO element to the way that it's priced, like early bird special.
Well, there's probably a FOMO element, but I think there's also like a nice kind of like amplification flywheel. to use some nice buzzwords there. But like, you get a brand on there and the video itself goes pretty viral, and then the brand is obviously excited about that, so they're resharing it. And I think Gemini might have commented on one of your videos on Instagram, basically saying that like every like goes towards the budget here. So now they're like getting 20,000 likes because people are like, okay, let's make them spend a lot of money on this ad placement, which in turn just boosts the attention on the video, which gets more brands eyeballs on this, thinking, hey, maybe this is worth the spend. You combine that with the FOMO effect, then people are gobbling up the smaller spots, more and more attention, larger and larger brands. All of a sudden, you're at $1 million. I could see this happening for sure within like a week or two.
All it's going to take is one, Saudi prince to come in and just buy the whole toilet. Like that's, I'm just building up to that, up to that level.
Right.
And you're totally right with the, so I dropped the third video today, and the previous two brands are in the comment section tagging more brands, right? So picture
nice.
when we're at 15 brands, there's going to be 14 brands in the comments that are tagging it and spreading it further. Like there's a really nice kind of, this incentivization is really fun for, and as it starts getting picked up by maybe news outlets or spread further, like their names are all going to be in it too.
So it kind of reminds me, there was this girl that was redesigning terrible redesigns of like brands' logos, and it was
the
on
NFL
TikTok.
ones, right?
Well, I think it was like started with NFL and then McDonald's. She did one with McDonald's, but like every brand was in the comment, and she was just redoing each one of theirs. And I imagine she got paid for doing specific ones, but it was like the comments. I mean, every intern running a brand's account was like, this is something that we can leverage. And you just saw literally it's like Slim Jim, every brand is now in there because they know that they can capitalize on this attention. And it's such a stupid idea. Like, they were terrible redesigns, like done with Microsoft Paint or something, and it goes viral, and every brand's like, let me just keep snowballing this. So yeah, you're definitely
and
onto
like
something.
that kind of phenomenon is like, if you've ever maybe run a brand social account or maybe even engaged, nobody cares when a brand is talking. Like, nobody cares. Right. Nobody has alerts on for Kit Kat to like see what they're going to post next, right? But when people care about people, that's why, for example, at Monad, like people know the people on the team, and the people on the team have an important voice. Arguably, it's more important than the Monad company voice, right? And so when there's all these people and they're running brand accounts and they're kind of screaming into the wind, and then they can, there's organic creators who are, making waves, even if with significantly less followers, they can reach significantly more people because people care about people. They care about the story of a person's journey. They don't care about brands. So maybe I threaded the needle here. I'm bringing you along. The story of all of this is I'm unashamed that I'm trying to sell ads for $1 million. That's the story. I want $1 million, right? I'll be honest. I want it. Anyone who wants to give me the money, I will take it. No judgments. You're going on, people are going to be like, well, why'd you do like this AI company? I'm like, dude, it's on a toilet. Like, we're not taking the moral high ground here. All right. So, maybe that's why it's working too. It's this journey to $1 million. We're all on it.
That's like a very interesting point too, of like how much curation are you going to go into, especially if it does turn into a bit of a bidding war for, like a scarce supply of lid space, for example. Yeah, exactly. Hey, if this is like some defense drone company and here's like an AI company and here's a consumer company, do you care at all, or like how much of thinking of I'm gonna choose the ones I like goes into that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm joking a little bit. Like, obviously, I would hope that I'm a pretty moral and ethical person. Like, there are definitely things that I would like reject completely just based on what I believe in. But I'm not drawing. I'm also a kind of person like, I'm in a weird position just in general as a designer right? Because if you're a designer, you have this whole kind of like there's a weird world with AI. It's trying to they just want to take our jobs so bad. And then I'm also like I'm into crypto, and if you're a designer, like you might hate crypto, you might like. So I'm in like all of these different worlds. I don't see things so black and white. Like there's things I like about everything. There's things I don't like about everything. So it's really going to be a case by case basis. Although I did have a weird. I am potentially rejecting I have a couple of bidet companies who are talking to me, and so this might be a conflict of interest to accept more than one. So that's kind of, I'm looking at these conflict of interest. Like if I accept this, well, then this one might not work, and maybe I want this one more. So no ethical dilemmas yet, just like competitive decisions.
Right, because on that ethical piece, like part of it almost, as you mentioned, is it's art itself, right? So it kind of is a statement. If like Palantir or Lockheed Martin is like a massive brand name across a toilet, also all just fighting for engagement and clicks in a AI generated algorithm, like that's kind of saying something as well. So yeah, I don't know. Like I think if I were in your position, like I get the moral quandary, but then part of it's like, hey, it's art. We're also it's like an interesting thing that these people are applying for it, and like just let the viewers see what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I part of this stipulation too, because I'm so hesitant to like accept ads and brand deals just normally, just because I don't want to I don't want someone to give me talking points and then I just go read them to a camera. Right. I have made it clear to all the brands that like I'm gonna do an ad read, but you don't get a say in what I'm saying. Like I'm just going to say whatever I want. And so everyone has been a really good sport so far, but that's kind of like another stipulation of you too, even to the big dogs. It's like there's something I'm going to figure out what to say from what I think your brand is.
Right.
Yeah, which was hilarious.
The resale calendar, right? Like you're ripping kids off on collectibles was beautiful.
Yeah, and they were just like, I was like, this is what I'm going to say, and they're just like, yeah, that's actually really true. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I'm also curious because you mentioned you start with Microsoft Teams, and that's obviously like just hilarious, and it also is well known. So it's kind of like, wait, did Microsoft Teams like pay for this guy to put this ad on his toilet? And in reality, it's like, no, that was kind of the Kickstarter. But now you do have like big brands coming in, as well as some of the small ones, like you mentioned, like small company out of North Carolina, who I would assume is not a very well-known brand, probably does not have a ton going on social media. I don't know what the company is specifically, but curious, like, what do you think the impact has been for the smaller brands that are not already a household name?
I don't know if any of those have gone out yet, so it'll be maybe too soon to tell. I know MoonPay did kind of a recap about what happened for them, and they counted out their impressions. I think they said they got 1,000 new followers, a certain amount of new app downloads. So, it's going to fluctuate too. The bigger the brand that I'm working with, the bigger the reach will be. That's just going to be how it's going to go, because there's multiple shots to amplify. But I'm really curious. Some of these people, like I'm telling them just straight up, I'm saying, look, I'll do this, but I'm not promising you any KPIs. This is a very binary thing. The video goes out, I promise you nothing. Nice. So like you have to be okay with that, right? And I'm not saying that to like be an asshole. I'm just like, I need to make sure we're all on the same page of like what this is for. This is for me to make $1 million. So you're like you're fuel in the fire, but like I'm not promising you anything here except that I'll put you on the toilet and you'll stay there.
Love it. Well, we might have to see if we can get some approval here to maybe find a nice spot for a Monad logo. I think that would look good.
Yeah,
we don't.
You gotta give us a tip on like what the best area is so far. I want to find a little creative spot. I think.
I would say everyone's taken the lid so far. I would say the front of the base is super underrated spot. So I've told a couple companies, like, if you guys might want to consider going down here because it's pretty underrated. So, you guys could look at the pricing chart. I know we're friends, but there's no friend discount, so you're just gonna have to do market
That's
rate.
the name of the game. You're trying to make $1 million, and we understand that, and we respect the industriousness behind this idea. So we'll have to connect after the stream, see what we can do. We don't actually have an active Instagram for Monad currently. We do for Pipeline, the media arm here. So we'll have to have a think on that. But maybe we fire up the old Monad Instagram and find some nice space on the bottom there, and boom, a couple million views on this nice logo here.
Yeah,
There's
let's
a
check
really-
your market cap. I mean, it's like $1 billion. I mean, you guys could easily, like, you could get anything. you want
Shell
on
out
here.
a few pennies here.
There's
It'd be
a
nothing. You wouldn't even notice.
there's a hilarious comment that came through on the chat that said, "So you're telling me I've been sitting on $1 million idea this whole time?"
Good dad joke.
You probably sit on it every morning. Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, you don't know until someone has the idea and actually actions on it. That's the big thing too. Like, there's probably a lot of people out there that were like, "Oh, I did some projection mapping on random stuff in my house at one point," and it's like, well, nice, but you didn't do this, so.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, what's been your biggest takeaway about, like, and I guess one part is like takeaway as a creator, but then also, like, what are you trying to say in some ways with the if there's like this art component, right? And trying to bring attention to certain things, and obviously we can tell by the way you talk about certain brands, like you definitely have a worldview around this. So I guess, like, what is your message around all of this after doing this for a couple days now?
My message is that, like, I just really badly want $1 million. Like, I just so badly. That's really the baseline of it. And I'm just trying to be very honest about it and use my skills to do it. I think I don't want to be like calling my own videos like art, but I think as it gets bigger and bigger, like, that might start getting tossed around, that there is some sort of, this is like a big statement, or something like that, and maybe I'll adjust my story as we go. But, like, I just like money. I love money so much. Anyone who said, the biggest lie we've ever been told is that money doesn't buy happiness. Like, every time I get money, it makes me so happy. And so I just want to keep that. I just want to keep it going.
Yeah.
Respect that for sure, and very excited to see where this goes. Maybe we'll get like a Beeple out of this or something like that. I could definitely see this, really continuing to snowball. And I know we're coming up on time here. I want to ask a question that we often float out to guests here on Monad in the Morning, and that is the final alpha. And it does not have to be crypto alpha in the traditional sense, but more of like any advice or message that you would want to leave the viewers with today, whether it's related to the toilet, whether it's related to your work, or related to something else entirely. It could be your favorite recipe or a movie quote, anything in between. But we'll leave it open for any final alpha from clearly one of the most creative people on the internet right now.
Well, thank you. I would say, the first thing that comes to mind is, and maybe this is obvious, but don't underestimate the power of compounding, right? Like, it looks, maybe on the surface, it looks like this guy just like did this thing and then it blew up like overnight. But what you're not seeing is, like 10, 15 years of work that got to a point that, I had the skills to do this. I had the connections to be able to launch the first one successfully. I had the, kind of like knowledge of how to make the hooks good and, get people engaged. Like, all that stuff is like, it's like you work at something, you take steps for years and years and years, and you just are ready for an opportunity. And like, I launch stuff all the time that, doesn't work. And I think it's going to be the big thing, right? Like, I over the summer, I spent 3 months working on an app that you plug into Adobe design tools like Photoshop, and it's just it's a pet that you keep inside, and you have to keep it alive. It's really annoying. Like you have to keep it alive. It can die. You can upgrade it. And I thought this is gonna blow up. I'm gonna make millions off of this. I sold like $500 worth of it, right? And so 3 months spending on it, but like all of these things, like if I just kind of like got discouraged and stopped there, then you never get to the next thing. But I'm like, well, I'll just move on to the next one and try something else. And so, if you want to do something big, you just got to take shots on goal, and you have to just like take the next step up and just keep compounding. Everything compounds: your relationships, your skills, your finances, whatever. Like just start doing things early and do them often, and put yourself in a position to capture lightning in a bottle.
Absolutely love it. Compounding, most powerful force in the universe. Not an original quote from me, but from someone much smarter. I forget who it was, maybe like Charlie Munger or something. But this has been super awesome.
Incredible to have you on,
I think we got the first live interview with Nick, founder of the $1 Million Toilet, and really excited to continue following along here. I'm gonna, see if we can carve out a nice spot for a Monad logo on this throne. And yeah, appreciate you being willing to jump right in here, Nick, and really excited to see where this goes.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Anyone in the chat, just look up Monad on Crunchbase. Let me know how much money they have, and just shoot me a DM. And thank you guys. Appreciate chatting you. And having
we
me.
hope you get $1 million.
No change
Thank
of the
you so
prices.
much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nick. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys.
Unreal. What an absolute
That was
legend.
super cool.
What a great idea. I know we have some spins to catch up on, but we are about to get kicked out of this room because Category Labs is doing some cool stuff here today in our adjacent room to the studio. So we're going to save a couple spins for next week. We do have them noted down. As always, if you are a winner of a spin and you're on Twitch, please put your X handle, your X link to your profile, put that in your bio so that Renz0x, I think is Savant's new doxed handle, can reach out to you and make sure that we do get you your prize. Sometimes it takes a little bit to actually finalize the distribution, so appreciate the patience on that front as well. And of course, we appreciate you being here. This is Monad in the morning. And a glorious morning it was. What a fine throughput Thursday. We'll be back next week. Until then, see you on the Purple Channel.